Del Mar College celebrating a new addition to their East Campus today. Now, one of the largest construction projects in the college's history. Moving right along, the project is a new academic and music building made possible through a $157 million bond initiative passed by voters back in 2014. Today, Del Mar President Mark Escamilla offered an update on the project, which is expected to be completed less than a year from now.
They'll be able to walk into a practice room. We'll have 5 outfitted with state-of-the-art technology. The rest will be wonderful, but those 5, the students can walk in, touch a button, record their practice session, play it back right there, or download it to a thumb drive and carry it out.
Also happening today, regents and guests were invited to sign a steel beam that'll be used in the building's construction. The new facility expected to be open to students by August of 2019.